Good morning, everybody. We are welcome to another one of our series in educational technology. And today we are dealing with the chalkboard. Everybody that has been to school has made use of the chalkboard, one way or the other. Teachers using it, calling us to come and write one thing on the other on the board. And as professional teachers, we know that we cannot do without the chalkboard. So, what is the chalkboard? If we are asked what the chalkboard is, what is it? We say it's any reusable surface on which text and drawings can be made with the aid of a stick of chalk. Any reusable surface, that means any surface that we can write on, clean, write on, clean, is the chalkboard. And we can write text, that means we're writing things on it and making drawings. We're drawing on it, we're putting diagrams, charts, whatever it is the chalkboard. Traditionally, we say the chalkboard is known as the blackboard. So when we were young, a lot of people of us called it blackboard instead of chalkboard. But now it's referred to as the chalkboard. Why? Because there are many different colors. We have the traditional black ones, we have blue ones, we have pink ones, we have green ones, as shown in this video. We have all kinds of colors. Then we have the chalk. What is the chalk? The chalk was originally a piece of writing material made from calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate. So it comes in the dusty powdering forms made into chalk that we can write with. But now we have all kinds of materials called chalk. So chalk these days is any material that we can use with the chalkboard that is erasable. Easily we can clean it with our hands with uh, duster and all that. So what we know as the chalk has changed over the years. So I first call the chalkboard chalk. Some of the chalk we have uh, dry erase markers and all that. But because we use them with the chalkboard and they're erasable, they are still the chalk. The chalkboard, we say, is the most used media in visual instruction since it was first discovered in 1801 or earlier. The chalkboard has continued to be used in industrialized countries, in developing countries, in rural areas, in urban areas, in the most expensive schools. Why is that? There are many reasons for it. First, it gives us simultaneous view. And what does simultaneous view mean? It means it enables everyone in class to see what is written on it, to see what is drawn on it, or put up on it. Because the chalk is put at a central place where we see what happens. So it gives us simultaneous view. And here we have examples of classrooms outside in poor areas and a good computerized classroom, and it's showing us the learner's seats facing the chalkboard. And in other climes as well, like in this case, we have people learning typing, and they are all doing what? Looking at the chalkboard, and at the same time, they can see what is written on the chalkboard. We say the chalkboard is versatile in use. And what makes it versatile? It gives us summaries of important lessons. It helps us to develop ideas during lessons. We use it to present visual illustrations. So our drawings, charts, posters, maps, uh, and other things like projections we make are written on the chalkboard. We use the chalkboard to record new words our learners are not familiar with, times we want them to place emphasis on, difficult words, important names, dates. We put them for emphasis. We use the chalkboard to solve quantitative problems, formulas, and all that in mathematics and in physics and in chemistry, additional maths, wherever we have to deal with quantitative problems. We use our chalkboard to give assignments not contained in our students' text. We also use the chalkboard to write down instruction and questions to our students. So here we have example of summary on the chalkboard. And the summary means in brief, what is happening in the classroom, what has been taught. The teacher writes it. A summary, because it's not everything about the lesson that is put up there. Here we have the chalkboard used to teach alphabets. So we use it, it's versatile because we use it to do different things. Then we have the chalkboard used to write numbers. So we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 to 25. In this case, we use the chalkboard to explain. So we are doing different things with the chalkboard. We use the chalkboard here to present charts, tables, things we want our learners to emphasize. We use the chalkboard in this quantitative problem to put our formula we want to use with our students. We use the chalkboard to give questions. Like in this case, we have question on the integrated science midterm examination. We also use the chalkboard for projection. Now you can see a lot of the things we use the chalkboard to do. We say the chalkboard is economic in use. And why is it economic in use? We say it's economic in use because it is cheap to acquire. It doesn't take a lot of money to get a chalkboard for your classroom. In some cases, the front of the chalkboard, a portion of the classroom, is painted to whatever chalkboard color we desire. So if we want the blackboard, we paint a part of the class wall black. Some places, because the wall or the classroom was going to make a chalkboard from the beginning, you have an elevated part of the class wall made black. So it's easy to acquire. You don't spend a lot of money to get the chalkboard, even though we have some that are quite expensive these days. Majority of chalkboards are very cheap. And once you get it, it lasts for a very long time. It lasts for a very long time. If you paint the class wall, the section of the class wall black, for instance, as long as that class wall stands, that chalkboard will be there. If it goes bad, what do? We use charcoal paint again, or we use grass like we used to do when we're in primary school, and you darken it up. So once acquired, the chalkboard, especially the blackboard, lasts for a very long time. In doing that, we say it's economic in use. Then we have images of the use of the chalkboard here. So it's economic in use because all we have done here, in this case, is paint the chalkboard to the wall to a desired color, which is black in this case. You can see it's the whole wall painted black. And what do we need to do that with? The chalkboard paint comes in various forms, various colors. So we buy the one that we want and then we paint it, and it's not very expensive. So it makes it what? Economic in use. We say the chalkboard is always available. There is hardly any classroom you go to in the world that you do not find a chalkboard. In fact, the presence of a chalkboard is used to identify a classroom. You can go to a place and you see chairs and tables, and you assume it's an event center or meeting area or anything. But once you see the chalkboard, what comes into your mind? It tells you that that place is some kind of classroom. You can walk into a bank and see an empty hall, but when you see a chalkboard, it tells you that it's used for some kind of training. So it is a classroom. And that is because the chalkboard is always available in classrooms because we use it for all kinds of things. And it's available in poor areas, it's available in rich areas. The chalkboard we say is attention compelling. When you enter a room and you see a chalkboard, you are what? Tempted to look at it. Or you are kind of forced unconsciously to look at it. And why does that happen? Because it's usually the biggest object in any room where it is. Because it's the biggest object, it attracts our attention to it. And then it's centrally located. It's usually centrally located. And if you've ever been to school, because of the many uses the chalkboard has been put over the years, we know that there's always something to learn on the chalkboard. So the temptation when we enter a room with a chalkboard is to look at what is there. So it compels our attention. We say we use the chalkboard for impromptu illustrations. It is used to put up illustrations that have not been planned for. In teaching, we always plan our lesson before going to school. But no matter how you plan, you come across situations where what you're teaching, the students do not know what it is. You had assumed they already knew, but you discover no, they are not sure. Maybe because they know that thing in a different language, maybe because they know it for different purposes. So you have to put up that illustration. To put up that illustration, you don't have to tell the class, oh, when I come back next week, I will put up the illustration. No. Because the chalkboard is there, you quickly put up the illustration. For instance, you're a French teacher and you go to the class and you're teaching things we eat, and you say poisson, poisson, and the students do not know what it is, because in teaching a language, you do not want to continue to use, for instance, you're teaching French, you don't want to continue to use English to explain French. So you say poisson, and you don't know what it is. What will you do? You draw the poisson. You put the illustration of the fish, which is poisson, on the board. If you didn't draw that thing, it might be difficult to describe what it is to them. So when you have situation when you need to put up illustrations that you might have underestimated, you use the chalkboard. But to do this, you need what? Drawing skills. It's important for every teacher to have drawing skills. Doesn't mean you should be perfect in drawing, but be able to draw things that are passable, especially in your subject area. If you make use of, for instance, the map of Nigeria regularly, make effort to learn to draw the map of Nigeria. If you make use of trees regularly, make effort to learn how to draw trees. If you make use of Spirogyra or Amoeba, make effort to learn how to draw these things. So for you to put up impromptu illustrations, you need drawing skills. simple drawing skills, to be able to put up our impromptu illustrations. We said the chalkboard is constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving. It started with a blackboard, the original one, which was made from a simple wooden slate, and then evolved to the whiteboard. It went to the wall chalkboard, porcelain board, which usually green. Then we had mobile chalkboard. Then we have magnetic chalkboard. Then with electricity, we've gone on to electronic copyboard and now interactive board. We'll get to look at all these type of boards, but these are what we have had of the chalkboard. So the chalkboard has a lot of use. Thank you. Please remember our chalkboard series is in 3 parts. So remember to watch out for the other 2. Thank you very much.